one. But for those of you standing, please be careful of the portraits on the wall. As you can probably tell, they're rather old and they're rather valuable. And the alarm was set off in the last session, apparently, from people leaning against the portraits. So if you are standing, just be careful of the portraits on the wall. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the third session of today's Experience Japan series. It's entitled, my name is Naoyuki Agawa, and I'm your moderator. And thank you for coming, first of all. And this is entitled The Regeneration of Northeast Japan, Reconstruction After the Great Earthquake in Northeast Japan. I'm sure that many of you are interested in what happened on March 11th this year, and what has happened since then. And we have a perfect speaker here as our guest, Professor Kijima of Tohoku University. He's a very good friend of mine and somebody who I truly respect. And he's by area of concentration, he's I don't know the technical term for what he does, but he's very good at abalone and sea cucumbers. So he will explain what that means. But he's basically a marine biologist and doing DNA and that kind of things. But apart from that, he has gone through the whole experience of coping with the earthquake and then the tsunami and other things after that. So without further ado, let me introduce Professor Kijima, who will talk to you about what he has done, what his university has done, and what Japan is doing. Thank you, Professor Kijima.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Agawa Sensei, Professor Agawa. I'm Akihiro Kijima from Tohoku University. Do you know Tohoku University? Okay. I sometimes go to the many foreign countries, and I ask, do you know Tohoku University? But unfortunately, so many people knows. Not so many people knows the Tohoku University, because in Japan, the University of Tokyo is the most famous university and oldest university. And second oldest university, old university is Kyoto University. And do you know third? Tohoku University. Usually one and two, they know, but the third university, no one knows. I'm very sad. But Tohoku University is just 350 kilometers from Tokyo to north. Okay. By Shinkansen, do you know Shinkansen? Okay. By Shinkansen, only 1.5 hour. Yeah, very near from Tokyo. And also, the weather is very, very fine. I believe it's the best place for study. Yeah. But unfortunately, this March 11, quite big earthquake occurred. Yeah. And tsunami. Do you know tsunami? Tsunami is Japanese term, but in the world term, tsunami coming. We, at first, feel come to 1 or 2 meter or 3 meter, but see, terrible tsunami come after the 3 minutes after the earthquake. This is Sendai, near Sendai, the Pacific coast. Today, I would like to share with you our experience during the following the Great East Japan earthquake. I will also talk about the reconstruction process in Northeast Japan. Next, please. At 2:46 in the afternoon, 3:11, the great earthquake hit northeast Japan. The size of the earthquake was magnitude 9. It was the biggest earthquake Japan has ever experienced. Next, please. Sorry, back. This is a picture of the clock, you know. What time, this clock? 2:46. Okay, this is my room. Yeah. I was in it dropped from the wall of my office, and just the time stopped. Okay, this is one evidence of the hitting time. Yeah. Okay, and I was in my office when the earthquake hit Sendai. It was such a big earthquake that huge trees on my campus was swinging, crazy. It continued for a long time, several minutes, I feel. And immediately after the electricity went off, a chill ran down my spine when I thought about my laboratory in Onagawa. Onagawa is here, just in front of the Pacific Sea. Okay, next please. As you can see in this slide, our research facility in Onagawa is next to the Pacific Ocean. I became terribly worried about whether our graduate student and staffs managed to escape from the tsunami. Yeah. I can never forget that time. Yeah. Next, please. This is my institute. This is the main gate, and here the Pacific Ocean. Tsunami come from there. Next, please. The tsunami struck our research center at 3:19. Please see this. In the afternoon, 3:11. In this picture, you can see the surface. Okay, usually the ships see down, but you can see the sea level up, began up. Okay. The tsunami occurred about 3 minutes after the earthquake. This photo and others that I am going to show you today were taken by one of my staff. He was brave enough to record the station while fleeing from the wave. Next, please. You can see only several seconds. The water hit like a storm. The building on light one is accommodation for the student. Next slide, please. The tsunami swirled around and swallowed. Okay, the in the building. My staff escaped up a hill behind our building. Next slide. Okay. The abalone and sea cucumber nursery hut. Okay. Sunk completely under the water in only 2 minutes. Next slide, please. Our facility for research also, next slide, please. Railing system where many apparatus are swept away. Next slide, please. Within 3 minutes, our center disappeared beneath the wave. Next, please. Our accommodation building is being swept away. Next slide, please. The tsunami washed away houses and our center as well. Next slide, please. The water did not stop. Water after wave of tsunami hit this area. Next slide, please. My staff took this photo from the mountain. You can no longer see our center. The ocean completely covered the area. Okay. Usually we can see the roof of our institute, but now nothing. We can see only sea. Sea and the mountain continue. Okay. Next, please. Within the 6 minutes, the whole area was completely submerged. Next, please. About 10 minutes after the first tsunami, the water began to throw with a roaring sound. Houses and ships and others washed away, collide that with each other, and the water took everything away. My staff said to me, the sound of water destroying the town was like nothing they had ever heard. Next slide, please. This is another photo of the water subsiding. Next slide. 25 minutes after the tsunami, heaps of rubble were left behind. This was only the first tsunami. Only first tsunami. 3 huge tsunami like this hit this area in the same day. Continue. Next, please. The second and the third tsunami struck. The wave gradually became smaller, but continued for 3 days. 3/11 is Friday. I went to there on Sunday, but small tsunami still come and go, and come and go. Slightly, gradually, slow down, but 3 days, you can see, you can understand what a big tsunami, big earthquake. Okay? Please, next please. We are left with rubble. Next please. This shows our center the day after tsunami. Next day, 2 floors second floors, but one houses on our center. You can understand the tsunami is covered completely. Okay. Next, please. Can you remember the normal photograph? Please see. I can take a photograph from the main gate. The wave washed away everything in the center. All our equipment for experiment was gone. Next, please. Surprisingly, nothing in the big room. Tsunami come from here to there. Many binoculars, about 40 binoculars and 20 apparatus for the electrophoresis and other refrigerator and freezer, all of them are gone. Power of tsunami is unbelievable. Okay. Next slide, please. This is our small car, also completely broken. No starter, no engine, no work. Okay. Next, please. This is an oil tank at the beach. This tank used to be on top of the mountain. This area. Next, please. Okay. This is where I used to live in Onagawa. This place is the main area of Onagawa town. Only broken house you can see. All of the houses broken out, washed out. Next slide, please. And city hall also broken out. Okay. Next slide, please. You can see the train. This on top of the hill. The railway ran along the coastal line before. We had no transportation, no phone, no information, no electricity, nothing, everything. But every people talk. You are right, and help together. Next slide, please. This kind of thing, same event occurred from Tohoku area. You know, Japan, Tohoku area, and Sendai. Sendai, the center of the earthquake and the center of tsunami. Next slide, please. As you can see, our main campus is in Sendai. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, this campus is about more than 10 kilometers from the Pacific Ocean. So we cannot affect. We don't affect the tsunami, fortunately. Next, please. As you know, in addition to the earthquake and tsunami, we all experienced a nuclear accident. Sendai is located approximately 90 kilometers from the nuclear power plant in Fukushima. And thanks to the distance was not affect the radiation directly. Current radiation measurement in Sendai were normal. In 2.4 microsievert per year. Okay. Next slide, please. This slide shows an overview of the damage of our university. Next slide, please. Although there were no significant damage to the main campus from the tsunami and radiation, buildings were damaged by the earthquake itself. And the library was particularly affected. 10,000 or more books down from the book stand. Our student, 2 weeks after the tsunami, earthquake, many of our students go to the library and arranged the books. But unfortunately, April 7, the sub-earthquake came, magnitude around 8. The books also down again. This is shock, big shock, because many people arrange, but our student, our graduate and undergraduate student and some researchers joined again in the library and arranged again, and we pray. Please don't come the earthquake again. But small earthquake come many times. Yeah, but the library stopped to now. Okay. Next slide, please. Also, research and laboratory facilities were heavily damaged. You can see this and this. But, no building down, only damage. Okay? Sendai is the most strongest city for the earthquake, I believe. Because this area, we have so many times of the earthquake, so we prepare every time to the earthquake. Okay, next slide, please. There were no deaths, injury, and disappearance on our main campus. But unfortunately, 3 students lost their lives to the tsunami. The universities suffered damage of approximately 44.8 billion yen, almost 400 million pounds to the building, and additional 35.2 billion yen, about 300 million pounds to equipment and facilities. But the Japanese government decided to give a supplementary budget to the university. Currently, we are rebuilding damaged facility. Yeah. Okay, next slide, please. Oh, okay. Under the circumstance, the university was forced to cancel the graduate ceremony and some of the entrance examinations. Entrance ceremonies and the start of the new school year were both delayed by 1 month. Next slide, please. In the meantime, Tohoku University started to several programs to help with the recovery effort because we are in the damaged area. Okay. Next slide, please. Specifically, we concentrated on the dissemination of accurate information regarding the earthquake. Number one, and providing health care through the Tohoku University Hospital. Number three, measuring radiation and publishing the result soon. And number four, providing robots to work in the damaged nuclear facilities. And number five, helping out in the disaster area. This was done by student volunteer. And finally, recording and archiving events as they unfolded. Next slide, please. Our medical staff were at the heart of effort to maintain service in the region. Next slide, please. We monitored radiation both land and sea. Next slide, please. This was a robot. This is a robot developed by Tohoku University. Tohoku University is very good power for the robotics. Okay. But this robot is developed our team and with Chiba University of Engineering. That's what used to do work within the damaged nuclear facilities. Maybe in England, this robot showed by TV, I hope. Okay, next. Student go to the damaged area and helping with cleanup and relief activities. Next slide, please. The university has also been activity collecting, archiving, and publicizing information about the disaster. Next slide, please. In the aftermath of the disaster, many of our foreign students and staff left Japan or another places, the other area. Now, almost all of them have returned to their students' studies and work. Please see here, undergraduate student now, maybe this is when. Nowadays, 99% coming back. And graduate student, 99.5. Only one student go outside, okay? And non-regular student, they want to come to Japan and Sendai, but their father and mother cannot accept. No accept. So they give up. Okay? Yeah. Next slide, please. And Tohoku University was able to start the new academic year roughly a month later than normal holding the entrance ceremony. And orientation in early May. This is a picture of the entrance ceremony. Okay, next slide, please. Yeah. You can see? Yeah. This is this figure taken at 9 March. 9 March. Only 1 month in Sendai is recovered. Yeah. And many new freshmen joined to the university, and many sport club introduced their clubs. Okay. Good face. Next slide, please. Yeah. Next. Student life, academic and extra circular activity is also back to normal. Okay, next slide, please. Next slide. Okay, sports club. Next slide. Yeah, this is one of campus named Kawauchi. The freshman, first year and second year class student joined this area and studied in liberal art. Okay. Sometimes I forget the English name. And I'm the chief of this area. Next slide, please. And in the lunchtime, the student joined this area and eat the lunch. Do you know how much of this lunch? Of course, many menus we have, but minimum 300 yen. 300 yen, 3 pound. Okay? And upper 10 pound. Maximally 10 pound. You can eat this cafeteria. Okay? Okay? And the May in Sendai is very fine. Not so hot, not so cold, cool. And they eat the lunch the outside. Okay? Okay. Next slide, please. Okay, next slide, please. And city of Sendai has also largely recovered from the disaster. In fact, the city, I feel, in my opinion, the Sendai city feel more likely than before the earthquake. So many people come to Sendai, and they stay in Sendai and go to the coastal area, because no one can stay in the coastal area. Hotels and inn completely destroyed. So many people join in the Sendai. So the activity of Sendai is more and more now. Yeah. I'm very happy. And this is the Sendai station. Okay. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. This is Suzume sparrow dancing. As a traditional dancing in the Sendai area. Date Shogun, in the time of Date Shogun. Okay. Can you see sparrow? No. Okay, next slide, please. The university quickly mobilized its knowledge base and ability, creating a new center coordinated effort with both national and local institutions to contribute to recover effort. Next slide, please. This is a new institution's mission. Next slide, please. Effort will initially concentrate on the 7 projects. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 projects now started. And these 2 projects now, many professors, many universities joined and now constructed organization. Okay? Okay, I explain 5 now. Next slide, please. The first of these is to conduct and collate research on disaster management and prevention, both domestically and internationally. I think we have an opportunity to investigate, to research the disaster, tsunami, earthquake, and radiation accident. Okay? Only in Tohoku area, you can study, you can investigate that circumstance. Only in this area. Please come. Please come and please join. And let's do the investigation of this disaster, I hope. Okay? Next slide, please. Where? Yeah. The second is to reform and strengthen local medicine infrastructure. This is very big problem during the damage, the disaster. Next slide, please. The third is to investigate alternative form of the energy generation with a view to reduction Japanese dependence on nuclear power. As you know, we cannot continue the nuclear power. Okay, but now we cannot now stop the nuclear power station. But in future, nearly future, 10 years, 20 years, we have to reduce the nuclear power, I think, and I hope. So, okay, time over. No? Oh, okay, I'm sorry. So we have to we start the project to the environmental energy instead of the nuclear power. Okay. Next slide, please. The fourth is to develop more robust communication network. In the day and several weeks following the earthquake, the lack of communication capability caused many problems. Who is dying? Who is someone is gone, but we cannot detect. It is very, very confused information. So we have another project, ICT, reconstruction project. Next slide, please. Finally, the disaster devastated the fishing industry in Tohoku area. It is my field. I will be taking charge of the project to survey the damage and promote recovery in the area in collaboration with other researchers in Japan. Many universities join us. And we make a project of, named Tohoku Marine Science Project. Okay. Next slide, please. Japan was dealt serious blow by this year's earthquake, potentially a fatal one. However, through reconstruction, we now have a chance to build a stronger, more effective country. This process will give us valuable insight that we hope to share with the world. Lastly, Japan received help and encouragement from many countries, not just from the British government, but also from the wide range of individuals and groups in the UK. I would like to take an opportunity to express my thanks to you for your support. I mean a great deal to the people of Japan and was a real source of comfort. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Professor Kijima. By coming here with him, I think I personally have learned a great deal about how he and his university have been dealing with this terrible disaster. One of the things that Professor Kijima and I have been trying to tell all of you and other British people is the fact that, yes, we had terrible, terrible disaster and tragedy. But at the same time, when something like that, something big like that happens, we tend to be united. We tend to be trying to recover and rebuild, and perhaps there's a sort of new birth of the nation. And we sincerely hope that you come to Japan precisely because we are going through this difficult time. Initially, people abroad were scared about the nuclear contamination, that kind of thing. That stage is over. It's safe, as he said. Sendai, in his opinion, is much safer than some other cities in the world in terms of nuclear radiation. But I would like you to come and meet our fellow Japanese, particularly younger generation, who are determined to rebuild Japan. Everybody has a story. Everybody has a story about how he or she went through this period. And this is a great time for you to consider coming. Do we have time for questions? Yes? One or two. Let me take a couple questions. Okay.
I just would like to ask you a question. Sorry. First of all, when I came here first, I went to and I had a look on other sections for the universities, and unfortunately, I couldn't find the right. How can I say right place to communicate for the undergraduate courses. They mostly do postgraduate courses in English. I think my suggestion is, if the Japanese organizations or Japanese universities, they try to set they can to provide an undergraduate course in English, that would be great, because I love Japan, and when the disaster happened, I felt that my country was in disaster. So I felt very sorry, and I tried, and I helped Japan, and God bless and God bless Japan.
Thank you. Yeah, that's all.
Well, in fact, it's a very good point that we should increase the number of courses at every university, not only the 17 universities here, but other universities in Japan, to increase the number of courses that are taught in English, not only at the graduate level, but also at the undergraduate level. You should remember that English is not our native tongue. Not everybody speaks English, and it's very difficult for the Japanese to teach courses in English. We are trying, and Tohoku University is trying that very hard, and Keio is doing that, and other universities doing. So it will take time, but we are in that direction. At the same time, I would like to emphasize that sometimes language is the key means through which to communicate with each other. But sometimes you just come, and not being able to communicate is a great challenge for you to communicate. I think Tohoku is a wonderful place because unlike Tokyo, where people are a little, very city-like, Sendai is a big city, beautiful city, but in the Tokyo area, there are wonderful people. I don't work for Tohoku University, but I support them. Another question? Very quickly. Yes, please.
How do you think that the Japanese government are going to
Speak up loud.
How do you think the Japanese government are going to pay for the recovery of Sendai with the massive debt we have?
国がお金ないのにどうやって払うか。
どうやって国がお金がないのに
その復活のお金がどこから出てくるとか。
I think this question is answered by Agawa Sensei because I'm not so I don't know how to make money because my major is marine science. But now the government make money for recover. Yeah, I think. Not enough money, but the start is important. In this time, do you know the total の額はありますか? So many budget come from the Japanese government. Okay, and in university, our university, also, as I say, not enough, but enough budget come from the government at first, okay? And in Tohoku area, all the Tohoku area recovered for maybe 10 or more years. Every year, the government make a budget, I hope and I believe. But I'm not sure correctly.
Let me just add that it's very difficult to raise money because, to begin with, Japan's economy is not going very well now. It sounds like everywhere, all over the world, that's the case. And we have a huge national debt, and we have a strong resistance to increasing the tax. But at the same time, people do realize that we need money to help those who are suffering or who were hard hit. And I think that inevitably we are going to have some tax raising of tax, and we are debating as to how to do that. Number two, I think we are going to issue some bonds, government bonds, to finance some of the reconstruction. And at the same time, we have to sort of be fiscally more sound. And while putting more money into the heavily damaged area, we have to reduce the amount of national debt. It's going to take a lot of time and a lot of effort, and some other areas of activities have to suffer, possibly including military expenditure and that kind of thing. So, but at the same time, I think that something that we have learned is that in the area, people are discovering that they have to do it by themselves. And there's this very strong sense of we have to be on our own. And where there are some strong leadership on the town-wise or city-wise, I think they are doing much better than those who are totally dependent upon the central government. That's my take. I think it's about time. Again, let us thank Professor Kijima for a wonderful lecture and briefing on the earthquake. Thank you very much. Thank you all for coming. I'm delighted that you were all able to come. Thank you.